Guys, for being here tonight. We're going to go ahead and officially call this meeting to order tonight. Our thought today is October 20, 2020. Hey guys, our thought for today is strength. It is the courage we find during life's most difficult times that make our souls grow. Adele Bashir. Tonight, our invocation, we're going to ask if we'll ask Commissioner Edwards if he would lead us in our invocation tonight, and we're going to ask Commissioner Mason if he would lead us in our pledge tonight.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, thank you for letting us gather here again tonight. We thank you for the freedom to do so. We thank you for the ones that died to give us that freedom, Lord. We ask that you guide us and direct us, and that we be selfless in every decision we make tonight. We ask these things in Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Guys, thank you so much for that. Also, want to give a quick update on our county manager, Mr. Kerr. He is home and he's doing better. Thank God for that. He's still a little weak, so we look forward for him to make a full recovery and see him back at work real soon. And we want to welcome Mr. James Brown tonight, who's filling in his absence. Thank you for being here tonight, sir. Next on the agenda is our agenda adoption. I have a couple of things on here. I better get out the way first. We want to add 8 as number 8E. The retirement for Mr. I think it's Brian Massey. That's 8E. And also, we want to pull number 14. We want to pull number 14. Which one? 7:30. Okay. What is Judy? Ms. Johnson, is number the public hearing, the first public hearing, is that 7:30 as well? That's ours. That's ours. Okay. Thank you. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I seek a motion that we approve the agenda with those changes. It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Schultz. Any discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you. Next on the agenda is citizens' comments. This is an opportunity that we allow citizens to come up and make comments about agenda topics only. Agenda topics only. You may come at this time. You have 3 minutes to do so. Agenda topics only. Thank you. Next in our chairman's report tonight, we got a couple of people that's going to give updates tonight. First, ladies first, Miss Laura. Miss Laura, if you would please come with Family Connections. She's going to give us an update on census tonight. Miss Laura, you will see her all over our county doing so much stuff. She's just like the Energizer Bunny. She keeps going and she keeps going and she keeps going. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you for inviting us, and really thank you for asking us to work with the Census Complete Count Committee. It has been a learning experience, but one that we have really benefited from, and so has the county. And I don't know that you got the paper that actually said our stats. We are, Newton placed 19 out of all 159 counties for our response rate.
Wow.
Let me go to the first page. And
great.
we had, there is something called, there's a differential between a self-response rate, those who respond by internet, phone, or email to the initial request, and then the total response rate, which includes census field staff actually promoting and recruiting response. As a self-response rate, Georgia, at 62.8, ranks 38th out of all the states, which is not great, but it's better than being in the lowest quadrant, which is where we have been. And all but one state at the end of the all response rates were above 99.9% of response. The state of Louisiana and the census field staff who worked hard to complete the non-response follow-up operations deserve the congratulations, this is a quote, and thanks from all of us for getting the total response rate over 99.0 complete, even with the devastating effects of Hurricanes Laura and Delta. That would not be me. Our response rate this year was 68.5, and done by internet, which is a brand new thing this year, and it's amazing that we got half of our community to respond that way. The final 2010 self-response rate was 64.6, so in light of COVID, in light of all the challenges, that's a miracle. So we are so proud of the commissioners, Chairman Baines, who began the process, Lloyd Kerr, who kept us moving, Brian Fazio and his work to build our social media presence, Commissioners Mason and Schultz, who were census champions in all ways, and Commissioner Mason in particular picked up and placed about 24 signs, yard signs, and promoted it at all food distributions, as I think many of you were involved in different ways. But above all, Newton County would have never had this success without the amazing work of the GIS team led by Tim Lawrence. Not only did they print up-to-date maps of the neighborhoods that were considered hard to count, they picked up yard signs from our offices and risked life and limb to place them in high-traffic areas. Tim and Heidi were constant encouragers and fact-finders for census data and ideas from other communities. And without that, I don't think that we would have had nearly the response that we had. There are other people who are really active in this that you may want to. The highest city response rate, and that was 69 point something. The city of Covington included census in their newsletters. We built new friends and expanded the friends that we had, particularly our faith-based list of to encourage pastors to speak to their congregations. That was, in fact, helped to be coordinated with Commissioner Mason and Ed Reed, who was a Faircount employee, but also a citizen of Newton, and we need to recruit him. He is one of those youthful, enthusiastic, and innovative thinkers that we hope to see being part of the leadership of Newton County in the future. Because our next census is in 2030, and I'm hoping that I won't be here in the most positive of ways. We built new friends with a group of people who knew about technology. Georgia State students created a social media campaign and an infographic. The Alcovey High students had what's called a Sources of Strength event before everything broke down, and they had over 150 kids participate in discussions about what the census was, where we're going with it, and I highly encourage everybody to talk to our schools about talking about iCivics, which is an online education about why we have government, what it is, and how to participate in it, of which the census is very much a part. Unidos Latinos is new to this community. They were based out of DeKalb. They have come into Newton County. They have been remarkable as serving as advocates for people who are Hispanic, and they distributed census information and masks at a variety of food distribution. The faith community lists have expanded, and we have compiled for the future 2 boxes, the same thing, of census resources, what we use for planning. I will tell you this, that we did not budget for the census for 2020. However, it's not the money really that made the difference. It was the fact that everybody reached out to neighborhood leaders in their communities who could share that information with people. So I think it's important to be part of the line item and to have it be part of something that the commissioners think about, but it doesn't have to be expensive at all. We spent far less money than neighboring counties and did better. So once again, y'all should be very proud. We would also like to have a meeting with the small group just to debrief and set kind of a starting timeline and date for what happens in 2030. So our, if you want to hear the city responses, or is that, we're good? Okay. Oxford was 69.6, New Bern 60.8, Covington was 58.5, Porterdale 55.3, and I think that's definitely a reflection of Harford County areas where we couldn't reach the people with our initial plan, which was really great. And also, in Fair County, it was 3 laptops to use at community events to help people respond online, which of course we had no community events. So they are now at Willing Helpers Medical Clinic with Fair County's approval and working. Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you. Thank you so much. First of all, we greatly appreciate you, and not only you, but so many more, Tim. It's just so many people who had their hands in this, and we greatly appreciate the work you did here in helping us get this done. Commissioner, do you have any? Commissioner Schultz?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for all that you did and all the times that we were able to call you and pick your brain on what to do now, how to get more people out. Have just a question that doesn't relate to the census, but is something that you've been working on, and that's the CARES Act. We've got information that that's taken on the CARES Act for the community and nonprofits.
We received notice last Thursday that the governor had stopped phase 2 of CARES Act funding, and that they were going to redirect current CARES Act funding to the unemployment insurance.
And so my question for you is, some of these nonprofits who completed that process, do you have a recommendation, or what should we tell them at this point? Is it possible that there's going to be a third round of CARES Act funding?
I would not venture to guess that, and the chairman is shaking his head as well. I sent out the notice to everyone. I think one of the reasons why we were part of it, or asked to be part of it, was because this was a nonprofit to nonprofit communication. So the county is not, they were not the driver of this in that sense. So the responses I've had have been very encouraging. My heart is broken for particularly Willing Helpers, which has struggled. And we're going to try to look at alternative ways to help fund a social worker for that group. They have tripled their patient care since March per month. So Willing Helpers is a big one, and Salvation Army had online to hire 5 extra care workers. What I'm hoping is with the unemployment insurance ramping up, that there will be fewer requests for help. We're not certain that will happen. And we're asking, I think that we'll ask churches, which are also stretched during this, to perhaps consider doing things like making donations to help pay electric bills, as opposed to candy for kids at Christmas, that kind of thing. So it's all very fluid right now, but everybody has been most gracious about us not pursuing any further of those applications. And Chairman, you might want to add, I don't know if you can add anything, or...
I know you did a great job. Although we want to make sure that we don't we don't want to say anything about round 3, nothing about round 3 that has been just said, even started being whispered to the county. So we definitely want to make sure we don't put that information out there. So I think you did a great job.
Well, it's great, and also getting more real engagement by other nonprofits who work as a collaborative. And
yes, sir. First of all, thank you for all the things you do in the community. And I've kind of been around it, and I've seen you do a whole lot, helping a whole lot of people. But the question that I have is, is that, you know, as you get a certain age, you start watching the news, like Channel 5, Channel 11, sometimes they call around. So how is it that Fulton County, Clark County, and other counties, they advertise on TV of helping people in the community with the CARES Act fund? And I was thinking, and I heard it earlier, I think from Ms. Jack, because I called and it's how would you make an application of nonprofits. And they are offering help in the authorities and this comes from the CARES Act. So I just kind of want to how could they manage to get money and spend it and help in the community and so like we can.
I know that some of the very large counties with a great deal of need and population got some initial funds that they distributed. I know that there are a lot of counties also like us who thought they were, and I was not part of that process, and I just know that what I'm hoping is that in getting it to the unemployment group, that it will mitigate a lot of the need that we were starting to see.
Thank you. Anyone else? Commissioner Mason?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to say thank you, Ms. Laura, and Ms. Molly for the work that you all do. It was a joy and a pleasure to work with you guys on the census. I had a lot of fun, just really getting people excited, getting the citizens excited about and understanding really what the census is about and how it can really help our community. And so I thoroughly enjoyed it. Hopefully I will be around in 2030. So I can help again.
Just give me a wheelchair, we'll be.
But thank you so much once again. And anytime you guys need anything over at Green Family Connection, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to help.
Y'all are great, strong supporters and have been since 1998, and we are so appreciative of this leadership right now. I am all for 1 Newton. This is what you stand for. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We get Tim Lawrence to wave his hand back there. I think it's called people's names, but he's one of our employees that really had a big input in this as well. So thank you so much, sir.
He and Molly share that data, and finding those hard to count neighborhoods was just, it was really fun to watch them and walk away. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Guys, Mr. Johnson, I'll come right back to you in just a second. We got a zoning tonight that we got to get to at 7:30, and hopefully we won't be too long. We'll come right back to you. Ms. Judy, if you would, please.
Unless you're driving me home, Judy.
This evening we have 2 zoning petitions for your consideration. Our first item, thank you. Our first item for you this evening is a future land use map amendment. It's FLU 20-000002. The existing land use map is AF farming agricultural, and the proposed land use map is RR rural residential. The existing zoning on the property is A agricultural. It is located in District 1. The location is 2107 Henderson Mill Road, map and parcel number 105-42, and the total acreage is 8.6 acres. The applicant and owner is Mr. Max Greenwood. The applicant's intent is to designate a future land use to rural residential in order to seek a rezoning to be able to subdivide the property into a 2-acre tract and a 6.6-acre tract. The character area and policies. Staff's analysis pursuant to the Newton County 2028 Comprehensive Plan, Community Agenda. The project site is located in the following character area and is correlated with the following appropriate land uses and policies. The character area is Newton Factory, Bear Creek, which is a sense of community tied closely to the preservation and conservation of its natural resources. A sense of community forged through high-quality education, quality homes, and aesthetic standards. The appropriate land uses for this area is agricultural, residential, office institutional, neighborhood commercial, parks, and recreation conservation. The conclusion, the 8.6 acre parcel currently has 2 existing homes located on it. The applicant is proposing to subdivide the parcel so that there would be 1 home on each parcel. Pursuant to the Newton Factory, Bear Creek appropriate land uses, rural residential is an appropriate land use request. Should the board decide to approve the petition, staff is of the opinion that the future land use map amendment may be appropriate for the area. Here's an aerial photograph of the property. You see in kind of the center is the one of the homes, and then if you'll look to the north of the parcel there, you're going to see another small home a little closer to the property line. This is the zoning map. You will notice that the property is currently zoned agricultural, which is actually a 10-acre minimum. This parcel would be considered legal non-conforming because it's only 8.6 acres. But again, the applicant's intent is to request the future land use map amendment to change from agricultural forestry to rural residential in order to come back and seek a rezoning where he could subdivide the parcel into 2 parcels instead of 1 single. And then it's Commissioner District 1. Because this is a future land use map amendment, there is no conditions of zoning that would be placed on the future land use map amendment. Should this move forward this evening and the rezoning be petitioned by the applicant, that's where we would place any conditions of zoning to the property. And I will answer any questions you may have.
Thank you so much. Commissioner Evans.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. And this may be a question more appropriate for when the zoning comes before us, but the larger balance of the property, the 5 points, whatever acres, or 6 points.
6.6, yes.
6.6 acres. Could that be further divided?
That would be something that we could certainly consider as a condition. The applicant, when he originally came into the office, was looking to do 3 parcels, but then he recognized that 2 parcels may be more appropriate. Staff would certainly look at conditioning it to 2 parcels because when you're in an area so embedded by around with agricultural, even though you have some parcels that aren't the 10 acres, the goal most people want when they get out here is to be able to have some type of agricultural use. And you're not going to be able to place a structure on a very small property, even if it's AR, and have a horse because we have such setbacks to neighboring property lines. So yes, that is something we could look at for a condition, but my understanding from the applicant, he is certainly agreeable to that condition.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you. It is approximately 7:34. At this time, we allow 10 minutes for the applicant and those that want to speak in favor tonight. Please come and state your name and address for the record, please. You may come at this time. The applicant and those that want to speak in favor tonight. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Max Greenwood, 63 Buckley Court, Monticello. We purchased the property in January of this year and realized shortly after that even though the properties are identified by utility companies and post office with separate addresses, they're still listed as one parcel of the tax assessor's office, so we just want to make 2 individual properties that are already identified by separate addresses, but on the same parcel of the tax assessor.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Anyone else want to speak in favor tonight? Anyone else want to speak in favor tonight? Thank you. That portion of our closing. here in this closed. We also allow 10 minutes for those that want to oppose tonight. You may also come at this time, state your name and address for the record, please. Anyone wants to oppose tonight? Would anyone like to oppose tonight? Thank you. That portion of our public hearing is closed. Commissioner Evans.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This time I'll make a motion to approve future land use map amendment, case number FLU 20-000002.
Second.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Evers and second by Commissioner Schultz. Any more discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Johnson, please.
The next item before you this evening is a conditional use permit request. This is CUP 20-000003. This proposed use is an auto sales repair business. It's located at 15801 Highway 36 and 35 Ball Ground Road. The property's existing zoning is CH Highway Commercial. It is also located in District 1 in the Alcova River watershed on mapping parcels 72-66B and 72-66C. The total acreage is 1.54 acres. The owner is Five Star Automotive, and the petitioner and representative this evening is going to be Mr. Greg Mitchell. The applicant's intent is to allow an auto sales repair shop within the Alcova River Watershed Protection District and to be able to designate 25% of the property to outdoor storage. The subject site and surrounding area. The subject site is currently 2 separate parcels, both zoned CH Highway Commercial, and is located in an area surrounded by both commercial and residential properties. The site is currently undeveloped, vacant land, with one parcel being 0.74 acres and the other parcel being 0.8 acres. Again, this is an aerial of the property. This is the current zoning on the for a large amount of area that near Ball Ground Road. Right north of the parcel is going to be the Dollar General if you're trying to kind of get your bearings of where it is on Highway 36. This shows the watershed because it is in the Alcova River watershed. Is one of the reasons why this petition is in front of you this evening, is that is one of our protected watersheds. And the second portion of the request is to be able to designate some area for outside storage. It is in District 1. This is a survey plat of the property. This is a general site plan for the property. Now you will notice that the parcel is using primarily the property that's going to be off the Highway 36 side. There is an existing deceleration lane that goes into the property for the Dollar General that's shared with this property, and they would be able to use that same existing driveway. So the conclusion. Staff recommends approval of the conditional use request to allow an auto sales repair shop within the Alcova River Watershed Protection District and to be able to have 25% of the property designated for outdoor storage with staff's recommended conditions. The recommended conditions. Should this petition be approved by the Board of Commissioners, it should be approved for a conditional use permit to allow for an auto repair shop within the Alcova Watershed Protection District, and to allow for an auto truck repair business the ability to have 25% of the property designated for outdoor storage subject to the owner's agreement to the following enumerated conditions. Where these conditions conflict with the stipulations and offerings contained in the letter of intent, these conditions shall supersede unless specifically stipulated by the Board of Commissioners. To the owner's agreement to abide by the following development standards and regulations. 1. All activities for the auto repair business shall be carried on entirely within the enclosed building. 2. Prior to the allowance of any outdoor storage on the property, The applicant will provide a plan showing the area in which the storage will occur to be approved by the Department of Development Services. 3, outdoor storage is limited to 25% of the total lot. 4, outdoor storage areas and refuge containers shall be screened and buffered so as not to be visible from the public right-of-ways or abutting residentially zoned property. 5, wrecker service, salvage, abandonment, recovery, or repossession of automobiles and trucks and temporary storage of said vehicles are prohibited. 6, a minor plat must be submitted and approved by the Newton County Development Services Department before any construction can begin on the property. 7, all land disturbance or construction permits will be submitted and approved by the Newton County Development Services Department. 8, all stormwater and landscape plans must be submitted and approved by the Newton County Landscape Architect, including resolving any runoff concerns created from the hotspot use. 9, no outside storage of materials, new or used, including tires, vehicle parts, or petroleum products. 10, no housing of scavenger cars may be stored in the 25% area, only vehicles in which are there for the repair. And the Planning Commission did hear this at their last meeting, and they did recommend approval.
Thank you. Any questions, Commissioner? Commissioner Schultz?
Can you define a scavenger car?
A scavenger car, often when someone is, let's say, a Honda, let's do my favorite, 1967 Mustang convertible. And let's say that someone is wanting to repair one of these cars, or they have it, and so they may buy 2 or 3 junk cars to be able to scavenge parts off of. So you could not have some type of vehicle there that you may have a lot of vehicles, or a Ford Ranger or a Ford truck. You know, you can't buy 2 or 3 of these and leave them on the property to be able to go and pull parts from.
Thank you.
Okay.
Anyone else? Thank you. It's approximately 7:43. We want to open up our public hearing tonight. The applicant and those that want to speak in favor tonight, you may come at this time. You have 10 minutes. The applicant and those that and those who want to speak in favor tonight, please state your name and address for the record, please.
I'm Greg Mitchell. How's everybody?
Good. How you doing, sir?
And I guess Ms. Johnson kind of sums it all up. And I'm in agreement with her. Just what we want to do is it'll be primarily my shop and my office, and my son will be there with me. He'll be the one probably preparing cars. I mean, I'm sure y'all don't want me working on the car. But it's a piece of property I've had for a while, and I did not realize it was in the watershed. And Ms. Johnson told me that, so that's why I'm here tonight. And that's about it. I'm in agreement with everything it says. No junkyard, just scavenger cars. I would like to have a 67 Mustang convertible. Anyway, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else want to speak in favor tonight? Anyone else would like to speak in favor tonight? Thank you. That portion of our public hearing is closed. We also allow 10 minutes for those who want to oppose tonight. You also have 10 minutes. If you would, please come and state your name and address for the record, please. Anyone wants to oppose tonight? Anyone would like to oppose tonight? Thank you. That portion of our public hearing is closed as well. Commissioner Evans.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to ask a question of the county attorney, if you don't mind. Ms. Martin, I own property that's not adjacent to this particular piece of property, but it was pictured in one of the previous photos. This could increase or decrease the value of my property. Is it still appropriate for me to vote?
I would suggest you do not vote, since it could directly have an impact on your property holdings.
Not even the motion, correct?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you. I seek the motion, please. Commissioner Schultz.
I move for approval of CEP 20 -000003 with the enumerated conditions as read by Ms. Judy Johnson.
Second.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Schultz and second by Commissioner Mason. Any discussion? Commissioner Cowell?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Judy, are we adding any easements to this? We're trying to look at the concept plan. It looks like there's an easement on the back side. Is that correct? I'm looking at it wrong.
We would not need to add any condition in reference to the easement when the minor plat is submitted. That will be part, because they'll have to combine these parcels in order to have enough land for the 25% storage. So we will make sure that that is part of the process with the new plat that is filed.
So is there an easement on record yet?
I'm not certain if there is or it's not.
There's no easement? Are you going to prepare an easement for that access point or?
I'm sorry, Commissioner Powell, are you talking in reference to the Dollar General shared driveway?
Yes.
I do believe there is an easement.
There is an easement there, it splits the property line, but there's
Okay.
an easement there.
My
But you're not
apologies.
adding to that?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else? All in favor? All opposed? Passes 401 with one extension. Next, we're gonna go back to the chair's report. I'm gonna keep Mr. Johnson out too long. If you would, please come on up, sir, tonight. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here and giving us an update tonight on our election. We greatly appreciate what you're doing too.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to, I joined the chairman yesterday morning for the chairman's corner so that we could get information out about where we are in the election. Day number 7 of the advanced in-person voting. Our vote total of people today that voted was 1,149. It was our heaviest vote of the 7-day period. We started out with a bang last Monday. We were really overwhelmed, and the Secretary of State's website got so slow that it really drug out our check-in process. But we've been catching up since then. Once his website came up to speed on Wednesday, and we enhanced our check-in stations, we've been able to move the lines along much faster than we were that first 2 days. As I said, 1,149 in-person voters today. For the full 7 days, we've had 6,659 in-person votes. We have sent out 18,872 absentee ballots. We have received back 9,426. So as of this afternoon, we have had 16,085 votes cast in Newton County, which is 20% of our registered voters in Newton County. This is going to be a turnout election, and it is a challenge to us to be able to move people along through the lines. We had terrible wait time on Monday of last week, the first day. We were running about 4 hours of wait time, and the Secretary of State's website we couldn't get enough speed to check people in. We're running now. Early in the morning, people back up before we open at 8. So our morning is the longest wait time. We're running an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes. By the end of today, we were down to 53 minutes wait time. So we're working on it constantly. We want you to have confidence that we're doing that, and we're gonna get this election done. We have coming up this Saturday a Saturday vote from 9 to 4. Then next week we'll have extended hours at the administration building, which will run from 8 to 6 in the afternoon. And we'll also next week be voting early at the Ford Memorial Library on Highway 212 across from Denny Dodge Park. So we do have those opportunities. We've still got, just on what we've issued so far, we've got about 9,500 absentee ballots that we're waiting to come back in. People have, I think, because of the noise and social media and the reports you hear on the news, people have become frightened to mail those ballots in. We're urging people, if you're concerned at all about mailing your ballot in, we have 2 drop boxes. One at the administration building at the north entrance, and a second at the sheriff's west side precinct on Salem Road in the Kroger Shopping Center. So if you get the opportunity to talk to the voters, remind them this is an opportunity to vote those absentee ballots. There is no way, and it will. It'll move our lives along faster on the people that are voting in person. Finally, I want to tell you, we started processing absentee ballots yesterday morning. We've so far processed 7,500 of those that we have. We intend to publish our results on November the 3rd, the evening, by 9:30. That's our goal. And we're not going to be one of those places that you're going to be waiting days to get a result from. We're going to publish. So, y'all have confidence. I know you're having people call you about the lines, but bear with us. We're working.
This is so important. I hate to rush, and I don't want to rush you out. I got a couple of things I want you to expound on. If you don't mind, can you talk a little bit about the turnout that we have been getting over at the west side location and the non-use of the drop boxes on the west side of town? Can you talk about that a little bit, please?
Yes, that has been disappointing. We added that station because we felt that such a large percentage of our population is west of the Yellow River. And so we looked for a site that was on a common traffic pattern there, and we felt Salem Road was it. And we had the ability, because the sheriff allowed us to come in, and we have surveillance cameras there. We could do the things we needed to do. And unfortunately, we've had very low capacity. We've had days when we're getting 25 ballots dropped off there. We need that box to be filled up. So again, as you talk to your constituents and people that you come in contact to, people call you about wait lines, urge them, use that drop box.
Commissioner Schultz.
So, I've sent out several emails and posted on Facebook, and I get calls from people that say that they're concerned that it's not being picked up enough. Can you give us a schedule or how frequently you're picking that box up?
We pick that box up once every day.
Just once a day.
And then, and if the box were full, I mean, if we were getting sufficient volume in it, we wouldn't hesitate to go pick it up as many times a day as we needed to make that run. It is a labor-intensive operation because we have to send 2 permanent staff people our board members, there's a province of the ballots. But no, we're not having a problem. As I said, yesterday was the heaviest volume we've had. We had 87 in there. But last week we were running 25, 30 a day. If people will utilize that drop box, I'll assure you we'll get the ballots out of there. And these drop boxes will hold 1,500 ballots. Easy.
Commissioner Evans, and Commissioner Mason.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Ms. Johnson. So, I heard you speak of satellite voting locations on the west side and drop box on the west side. Have we given any thought to having those two items on the east side of the county at any time? I know, for instance, I can think of Red Oak Church would be a wonderful place to have a satellite voting location. And a drop box. We have a sheriff's precinct on the east side too. I'm not sure why we couldn't use that as a drop location too. We have a lot of elderly that just can't get into town or whatever. But I want to make sure we allow for the opportunity on the east side as well.
Right, and we are going to come when we get past this election, and we've been in election mode all year long. The qualifying was in March. We thought a primary would be in May. This was the first time that we've ever been allowed to have drop boxes. Was in the primary, so it was not something that the board had experience with. But as the rules came out and we were able to have drop boxes, we put one, of course, at the administration building first, because that's sort of the center. We realized that we had a lot of traffic out on the west side that doesn't come through town. They tend to go the opposite way toward Atlanta and Montville County. And we did think about where on the east side we would put one, and we just in Mansfield and Newbern are the hub come to mind. It has to be on property that Newton County owns, or in this case, the sheriff has a right to lease on the property. So we were somewhat limited in the rules that came out. But let me mention one other thing, and I don't want to predate this too much, but we are planning, once we get this election behind us, to come back to you with a new plan on the location of precincts and voting places, because what we're finding is this new equipment has such an electrical drain that we have to have more circuits, we have to have a bigger service capacity for the site. We have the Secretary of State's office has done an evaluation of every precinct voting location we have. They came back to us. We have sites that are ADA compliant in all respects. We have inadequate parking. We're going to take those evaluations. We're going to analyze it. We're going to look at the county, and we're going to come back to you with a new plan next time. And it's going to include, I think, more early voting locations so that everyone is not trying to get in the administration building, but we have, and places where we can have parking. You know, if you're trying to find a parking place over there now, it's really difficult. And they're parking all over town, I mean, to try to get in there to vote. So we'll be back to you by the spring with a plan, asking you to give us the resources and the help to meet the need. You know, Newton County now has 82,000 registered voters. It was 4 years ago, we had in the high 50s. I mean, we're exploding, and we're what we've got to do is we've got to grow our voter system to meet the voters that we now have. So I thank y'all. I do want you to rest assured, we did think about that and we looked for a way, but we were having to move pretty quickly because of the time constraints we were in. Thank you again. If you have any questions, call the election office, call me.
Yeah, one more, but we're not gonna do a board meeting, we're gonna do a work session, so we can all just, have a casual conversation, about the improvements that we do for an election. I got one more, Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Johnson, for the phenomenal job that you guys are doing over the Board of Elections. We know that it is a challenging work to do, and I just want to thank you guys for the work that you're doing. And thank you, and Mr. Chair, for the Chairman's Corner. I think that was some great information, and our citizens really want to know. Now, when I listened to the Chairman's Corner, I recall you talking about adding another check-in station. You were working on that. So once you add that new check-in station, will that get it down past the 53 minutes? Do you think it may get down to like 30 or 45 minutes by adding the extra check-in station that you mentioned?
Our other constraint is the number of machines that we can have there. We have 16 in there, and that was to allow safe distancing. So if we continue to add more check-in stations, you will eventually absorb all those machines, and will push the waiting line from outside the building to inside the building, waiting to get in the room to do the 16. We're going to strive to bring that down as much as we can, but I want to be very candid with you. This is a challenging election. We're going to have a lot of voters in the next 9 days, and we'll do everything we can. But it is, we vote on a president every 4 years. People, we want to work them as fast as we can, but people wait in line to get their driver's license, they wait in line to go to the doctor. This is something worth waiting in line to get to do. And we appreciate, one last thing, we thank the board. I want to tell you, we've got a great board of elections, good people. We have got an excellent staff, and we have a lot of volunteers and people working with the parties to come in and help us pull this election off, and we appreciate it.
Thank you, staff and volunteers. Please forgive me for omitting. Thank you.
Got one more. Also, before we call on Commissioner Henderson, we want to remind everybody that when you guys get over there, there's a line already wrapped around the building, so you got to take that into consideration as well. That line is already wrapped around the building, so yeah. So when you get there, I mean, people have been waiting, but they've been waiting in line, waiting for it to open as well. So yeah, Commissioner Henderson.
Well, thank you, Chairman. I'll be brief. First day of voting, I was in line, and I got there about 8:36, and I didn't get a chance to vote before 30 in the evening. And so we were talking, I think Mr. Chairman came by, we were talking, glad to hear all the noise, so that just had to be someone around. So we were just having some other good time, around with the crowd of voters. And they made mention to the folks behind was that there was only 16 machines, and how slow they were at the inside the building. And so I asked the question, I said, why would we stay in line all day? And one lady said, and she summed it up, shall stay in the line as long as I have to. She shall stay in the rain. This is a very important election that we have to come in and get into and vote. And so that's kind of summing up the street while we have such a lot of lines. One last question. Machines, once it's all over, do we have a proper place to storage the machines? I think a dry building, certain temperature building, I think. So what about that?
We have room to store, but we're busting at the seams. And if you come in our work area, you'll just see stacks of machines as we're getting ready to get these out to the precincts on November 3rd. again, this is all part of the plan. We're gonna have to grow our election operation if we're going to meet the growing population.
Thanks, sir.
Very much.
Hey, I know they have a lot of questions, so, and I knew that they needed to hear from you, so thank you so much for being here.
No,
You too, thank you so much. Next, we have our county manager report. We're gonna call on Mr. James Brown. To help us out with that, sir.
Good evening. I just want to go through several highlights for the departments for the month of September. Animal Services had 83 adoptions of animals. They had close to 300 people visit the shelter. As previous gentleman went through and just, went over the highlights of the elections department, we have over 83,000 voters in this county. We have, with the transportation department, the roundabout for Jack Meady Road is at the 95% capacity, design complete. So they're getting really close to construction. To go to. As it stands right now, the employee population, right now we have 705 employees. We have 6 new hires, 11 separations. In the permit department, we issued for the month of September 129 permits, 52 being primary residential and 5 being signs. Work orders by district. As you can see, the outlay from districts 1 through 5. Transportation is also doing the LMIG projects in District 3 and 2. We have a splosh project that's going on Mount Zion Road in District 3 as well. COVID snapshot. Unfortunately, we have right at 2,758 confirmed cases. Unfortunately, we have 95 souls that passed due to this virus. Hopefully everybody's doing better, including Mr. Kerr, who has suffered with this as well. We continue prayers for all the people in the county and in the United States and the world to continue to help recover from this virus. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Henderson, you have a question?
Yes, I do. And I'm looking at this. Maybe Ms. Jacob asked this question. I'm talking as well. In town we have just a lot of cats. And now around my house, I think we're in I think Purchase Street now, High Spring. And so we called to the animal control and we said, well, let me look here. Please send somebody out, check on them, and put a trap out for these cats. And my wife would tell me, so they should call me Jackie. We always call me, she always called me Jackie. And she said, well, I think she said, call the Monroe and see if they can pick the cat up. And I remember saying to her, she said, JC said, why should I have to call the Monroe? If you live in Union County, pick up a cat. And so, I don't know what it is we may need out there in order to get service in town. But I think if maybe we a new house, a couple more people, fewer machines. I think what it is, I think we need to kind of address it. But I think we spend a lot of money making it really nice for the animals and the treatment. And it shouldn't be no weeks, a month, 2 months, somebody come to your house and just down the street. I think we do better. I think at some point we will do better because I think people in town are going to give me a petition to ask it, the thing to do with that. Next and last question is that we know that COVID-19 is something that's very scary to old folks like myself and maybe a few young people. And I think not only do we need to report what's happening out in the community, we need to report what's happening right here in the county with our employees, our first responders. And I think they've been exposed to a whole lot of stuff. And I know there's been several of our county employees who have came down with the COVID-19. And I think we need to stop trying to talk about it or not say anything about it and let people know. That's I think is very important for all employees. And let's work together. I mean, the city of Covington can give their first responders hazard pay. Why can't we? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda. I want to highlight the $91,000 that Kathy Davis have received a grant for. I think they worked really hard to get this money, so we want to definitely highlight that. Guys, I seek a motion that we approve this. There'll be a motion by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Mason. Any discussion? All in favor? Passes 5-0. Thank you much. Next, Ms. Brittany, if you would please come to the mic.
Good evening. Tonight I will be presenting the September 2020 financials. This is the third year of FY21, so that puts us right around 25% of where we should be targeting at. So first I'll highlight the general fund revenues. So we're currently at 15.4% of our actual to budget, which is $11.1 million. So in comparison to last year, we were at 8.06 this time last year. So the CARES Act funding is included in this amount, so that was 4.8. And then there was also an audit done by the state that returned around $800,000 of prior year loss collections to us. So we were excited to see that. And that stems back all the way from 2016. These graphs depict our revenues to budget for the year. Our general fund expenditures are $16.2 million for the year, which puts us at 21.81% for the year. So that still has us trending slightly below the 25% where we should be aiming at this year. And this graph depicts our expenditures for July, August, and September, and also shows you where we're at actuals versus where we're budgeted. So far for the year, our total revenues are 11.1, our total expenditures are 16.2. That puts us at revenues under $5 million of our expenditures, but that's to be expected this time of year because we have not seen our tax revenues, property tax revenues level yet. So this is an unaudited fund balance graph. So our audit completed last week. It went really well. It's looking to be about $2.5 million that will roll into fund balance for FY20. So if that's the case, our fund balance will be at roughly $22.5 million. Right now, we're showing 17.4, but that's just due to the revenues being $5 million under expenditures, and like I mentioned, that's to be expected this time of year. Our enterprise funds, they're doing well as well. So we're looking at 28%, and then July puts them at 29. Is at 94,070,000, so that puts them at 14%. The total balance is actually going to be $1.1 million. We just had some public works transportation projects decoded with 328 versus 327. 328 is the 2011 SPOS. 327 is the 2017 SPOS. We've made those corrections in October, so that will correct this next year, or next month. So 1.1 is the SPOS balance. And pretty much the only projects left here are Fire Station 8, this, as I mentioned, the transportation just wrapped up, and the historic jail. 2011 SPOS, or 2017 SPOS, our remaining current balance is 9.1. Looks like we'll be wrapping up animal control center pretty soon, as well as animal control, or the senior services, recreation. They have some expansions that they're about to complete, as well as the jail expansion. So those projects are getting close to being wrapped up. In our SLOSS collections, we also had around $700,000 returned to the SLOSS collections this past month due to the audit I mentioned earlier. So that actually puts our SLOSS collections over $8.7 million of what our projection is actually for this time of year. And our total balance in the impact fee fund is $2.3 million, and we just started some impact fee projects of paving some trails, so we're gearing up to start utilizing our impact fee funds again as well. And that wraps up this presentation, and if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Thank you so much. Any questions, Commissioner? Commissioner Hill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Brittany. On the very first slide, you said revenues without the CARES Act, revenues including the CARES Act. Where would those revenues have been without the CARES Act?
They would have been at 8.53%. So we're still trending higher than we were last year at the 8.4%.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Great job. Next is item number 10, City Services, seeking approval for annual FY 2021 Northeast Georgia contract. Ms. Martin, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This contract comes for you all each year. It's the standard form contract of Northeast Georgia Regional Commission for providing services to the aged in the community. They do food events, they take food to those that are at home and can't be out, and they also provide other services. This has been reviewed by Sam and has been approved as far as the contract goes, and we would be seeking a motion to approve.
So moved, stated by the county attorney.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Henderson and second by Commissioner Schultz. Any discussion? All in favor? Passes 5-0. Next is Senior Service, Animal Control, and Recreation Department purchase, seeking approval of the amendment 3 and 4. Ms. Martin.
Thank you, Chairman Davis. As you all know, we've had several purchase orders and contracts come through for the Senior Services Animal Control Rec Department purchasing. We have 2 amendments tonight, change order proposals for animal control, Senior Services, Parks and Rec, bringing that overall agreement to a total of $3,248,322.43. That was, I believe, approved by legal and reviewed by Sam. So I will do my best to answer any questions you have on this one. I have not spent significant time in this contract.
No problem. I do have Jeff Bryan here tonight, so any questions from you guys? Any questions, guys? No questions? Seek a motion, please. It's been motioned by Commissioner Henderson and second by Commissioner Cowell. Any discussion? Any discussion? Thank you. Thank you, sir. All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you. Next is consideration and discussion consideration of donation for district for SPOS funds. We'll start with Ms. Martin.
Thank you, Chairman Banks. I believe Sam communicated with someone this week on this issue, on trying to help out. A tornado or other large storm took the roof off of a men's shelter. Commissioner Henderson, being the humble-hearted man that he is, reached out to want to use his district for SPOS funds to repair this facility where the homeless have been living. We've done quite a bit of research and tried to figure out a way around SPOS being so strict. And unfortunately, I don't think that we can use SPOS funds for the reason that it's not, we have no capital outlay of something that we own. Now, a creative idea that I came up with is, I wonder if they would enter into a lease agreement with us. If we had a lease agreement, that would mean that we have some type of ownership interest, I would be much more comfortable saying that this could be a SPOS project, because it would be capital outlay for a county project, because we don't own that building as of yet.
So this is the thing, the building actually belongs to the housing authority. We asked the city of Pemberton I asked the city of Pemberton to be a partner with us if we couldn't use SPOS dollars to be a partner with us and donated $30,000 to the homeless shelter. And they approved it last night to do that. Now, Commissioner Henderson wanted to see that we use SPOS dollars before we go down that road. And I want to make sure that I didn't know if we could or we couldn't.
I go general fund, that'd be my best recommendation. I looked up the ballot, the referendum for the District 4 projects, and they're not spelled out. Like, for example, we have a similar project with the Boys and Girls Club, where the issue being there that we have a property, we lease it, and it's a very minimal lease, but it's the ownership. But out of general funds, you should have no issue there if we wanted to partner with the city for that.
Commissioner already raised her hand.
Which one?
But first of all, because I actually polled the commissioners, and I want a person to thank Stan in District 1 because he, without hesitation, I think next day he sent back and said, well, and you correct me if I'm wrong, so let's see what we can do. If we can do it, and so we'll support and helping those folks who have been through a whole lot. I think if you could have went out as I did, and I just heard about it, and I was on the way to church and so I went by and stopped, and you could see their clothes and bags, and they were being shipped out to the motel for a couple of days. It made me think of a third world country, and then it's way hit on my heart, so I went back over the next day, and I found out that they was salvaging the mattresses out of the building so someone could sleep on the floor because the APU only gave them a couple of days in there, and so they could come back and find somewhere to sleep. And they had tents outside and stuff. And I felt myself, I felt kind of bad because I said, there's a lot of people call themselves a preacher, and I'll say it and stuff, and say we want to help folks who really need it. It was not no folks that John did. A tornado came through and tore the place, tore it up. In fact, I felt so bad about it, and the chairman and I used to call Steve at real hard at the same time. And he said, well, JC said, we're going to find some money so we can help those folks. And I said, well, I'm going to ask for $40,000 for this for a SPOS money because I know it was, capital. We used the capital improvement. And I thought capital improvement was something like you fix it on the bill or whatever. That what I had thought, and I know we had did it a few years back. Air conditioning, Sunday week, but make a long story short, if we can't help somebody who's in need, we helped a lot of folks over the years who have been in need with a few $1,000. And I was listening just a few minutes ago when we talked about we got $20,000 fund balance. And yet, people still pay more taxes at this point than they should have. They still want to share it with me. And we can help somebody we know in need, or families, and something wrong with us. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Evans.
I don't have anything, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Shelton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, if we were to take this amount of money out of contingency, then we wouldn't necessarily have to have a lease. Correct. So we could just make a motion tonight and say to take $40,000. Is Brittany still back yet? So, I guess we need to know how much is in contingency. I mean, which pocket of money to take it out of, whether we take it out of contingency, how much will leave us in contingency? Or if you can tell us which page it's on in the book, in the report.
I don't think the detail of the contingency line item is in the book, but off the top of my head, we were not able to put a whole lot in contingency this year, because if you remember, towards the end of the budget, when we tried to cut $1 million, we pulled first from contingency, so I'm thinking it's around $54,000.
Oh, so that won't leave us much in.
No.
So then, what would be the appropriate pocket of money to take it from?
With it still being early in the year, it's kind of hard to tell. We probably would want to maybe at mid-year, do a mid-year budget review, see what revenues are coming in a little strong. Our loss collections are coming in strong still. We did budget conservatively there, just because we didn't know how the impact of COVID was going to affect our loss collections. Possibly that could be an option, but with it still being so early in the year, I don't want to speak on that necessarily right now. So we're going to have to do a pretty big mid-year budget review anyways, due to the CARES Act and just some expenses we've incurred due to COVID. So I would suggest looking at it around mid-year to see where we're at.
So Brittany, if we took it from our cash reserve, what would that do to our cash reserve?
It would drop your cash reserves, obviously. So we would have to do a budget amendment to borrow from fund balance. So we would have to do a revenue for fund balance and then an expenditure out to whatever the amendment is.
I know it would drop off. I know it would drop the cash reserve, but what kind of impact would it have on us? Any kind of negative impact on us? If we took $30,000 from our cash reserve?
We're still not exactly where we should be with our cash reserves in a 5 to 6 month period of expenditures there. So we're still working our way there, but percentage wise, when you're talking about 22 million versus 30,000, it's going to be a very small percentage.
Yeah, cash reserve. Anyone else?
So I guess I just want to finish my line of questioning. So if we were to take it from cash reserves and made that motion tonight to take it from cash reserves, then would you need to come back with a budget amendment?
My suggestion would be tonight, we can pull it from contingency since we do have the funds in contingency. And then further in the year, if we want to put more money in contingency, from our cash reserves, we can go there. But cash reserves, I would prefer to touch that at the very, very last measure.
All right. No, because they need the money now. And so we can't wait till mid-year.
Yeah, I think we make it a lot different than we need to. Commissioner Calvin.
Thank you. This is exactly the kind of problem that we anticipated. Some of the natural disaster came in, we wanted to have some money set aside to be able to get things done. So I have no problem with it. A quick question, they are non-profit, right? So there's no giving to private entities, it's non-profit. So again, this is just one of those natural disasters that we plan for. We set aside a plan to have something like this.
Wow. Commissioner Evans.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would echo the other commissioners' sentiments. I think it'd be great if we could help them out. I've volunteered there. I understand the need. So, especially, it seems to be a growing need in our community. My only request or suggestion up for debate, right? So, would be that we send this money for accountability purposes through E&A, so they could feed back to us exactly what that money does at Miss Clara's at that facility out there. Just a suggestion. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Anyone else? Anyone else? So how do we need to make this motion?
I would like to make a motion to appropriate $30,000 in funds from the Newton County Contingency Cash Fund to be utilized for repairs due to tornado damage at the Rainbow Community Shelter. Repairs, and then I'll rephrase it then. I don't make motions often, do I? Absolutely. A motion to approve.
Before you do that, let's get Commissioner Edwards' question out first. Commissioner Edwards has suggested that we send it through EMA. That's the board decision that you guys want to do that. Another city company gonna partner with us. I don't know if you're saying send it to EMA to have them oversee how they spend their money, or I guess I'm trying to get a better understanding of what you're saying.
Well, with a complete understanding that it would go to the needs of that shelter. It's just a way of feedback to us that, an official feedback to us of accountability for that money. I don't distrust anybody. I'm just saying, rather than write a check, just funnel it through EMA. My suggestion would be, my motion would be for, as stated by the county attorney, with money being funneled and distributed by Newton County EMA.
The only thing that I disagree with that about is because when this happened, and I don't like when this happened, when this happened, man, we got a large number of people who went out, including myself, and bought truckloads of water and got to get food and supplies. And the thing about it is that I don't know. They're constantly needing hot meals and things like that. I don't know if EMA is going to be able to be at their need when they need to be writing these checks. Now, I can agree with you if you want to say, hey, they need to give back a record of expense or something like that. If you want to do something like that, I can understand it. But if you say they own the shelter, you know what I mean? They own the shelter. It is what it is. I don't know how to make it. No claim to the net, but this is the board decision. This board decision. How we all gonna do it?
Well, I think it's prudent just to ask for a record of receipts and expenses.
Yeah.
And rather than tying it up with emergency management, I think you're just paying the record to them, but asking them to provide us a receipt of expenditures and purchases.
I'm good with that. I'm just gonna say, Jody has, and I want to update the board. I didn't do it I forgot to do that in the chairman's report. But Jody has been there. He was there since it took place, and he did a wonderful job of helping bring some stability to that whole situation. He did, but Jody, there's women at that shelter as well, and Jody, he can't get involved like things that it's just different. I think Mr. Gower got the best idea. But it's just up to the board. Go ahead, Commissioner Henderson. Commissioner, before y'all make a motion.
Not only are they business, they also contribute to the well. time, because I didn't have anything to give them together. So that's why I told them. And, but you, like always, when you're dealing with, county money, or government money, you always have to have some type of accountability to as well. I think the receipt form is, you know, needed. Yeah. For sure. Like any of us. Yeah. For sure. And so if I could, and there's any question, I can make a motion if I could. Yes, Ms. Lawson, Commissioner?
So they redo it. How about one of y'all make it, one of y'all second? How about that? Mr. Evans, go ahead.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion as stated by the county attorney to develop by Commissioner Calvin.
Second.
Thank you, sir. There's been a motion by Commissioner Henderson, and second by Commissioner Evans. Any more discussion? Commissioner Evans.
I just want to say real quick, I'm very comfortable with the level of accountability you guys have suggested. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And it's 30,000.
It's 30,000. It's 30,000. Also, before we get off this subject, I want to thank this board. We take this opportunity to thank this board for giving Joey the ability to take people that have been put out over to our cousin school. Because of the motion that you guys passed, he didn't have no trouble when they didn't have anyone to go, because they didn't have anyone to go. You know, I mean, they didn't have anyone to go. And Joey got involved and said, hey, we got a place there, we can take them. And I want to thank the board for doing that. So thank y'all. But anything else? All in favor? Pass it 5-0. Next on the agenda is item number 13. Georgia, FFA, FCC, LA purchasing, seeking approval of contract with Georgia FFA, FCC, LA security interest checkpoint. I got Chester here tonight. You will please come on up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you know, the county has contracted with the FFA to build a checkpoint there to help keep the facilities secure when the kids are there, and the stays and occurs in that. So the Public Works is going to be basically we're going to be doing the site work, and we're proposing to hire a contractor to build a checkpoint building. And it's about a 30 by 18 building. It's going to sit in the middle of the street. And so we received proposals from design build firms, 3 submitted proposals: Multiplex LLC, SW Sales Service LLC, and then Sunbelt Builders. Now, Sunbelt Builders, our selection committee determined that Sunbelt Builders was the most qualified contractor, and they had the lowest guaranteed maximum price. And that guaranteed maximum price is $230,543. So, requesting that the board approve contract Sunbelt Builders to build a checkpoint building for that for a maximum contract price of $238,543.
Chester, one quick question.
Yeah, it was about a month ago.
Did any minority-owned firms bid? Did any minority-owned firms bid on this?
No.
All right, thank you, sir. Any questions, Commissioner? I seek a motion, please. Commissioner Evans.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Motion to approve of contract for Georgia FFA FCCLA security entry checkpoint with Sunbelt Builders, $238,543.
Second. It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and seconded by Commissioner Cowell. Any discussion? Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to make sure everybody understands this money is 100% reimbursable by the FFA account. We're providing the muscle and they're providing the money. So, this will be 100% reimbursable. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Anyone else? All in favor? Passes 5-0. Thank you. Next is for the public hearing. Ms. Martin.
So this is probably my favorite public hearing that I have had with Newton County. Look at this beautiful smile on Jackie. She has wanted a codified code of ordinances since we met. It was one of the very first things that she said to me is, we got to get these codified. Sitting next to Jackie, we have our codified code of ordinances now. It is beautifully done. I will tell you that Miss Jackie and I had a hard time figuring out how to put them all together. They're very expandable, but tonight before you, you have your codified code of ordinances, and we did advertise simply just if anybody had any questions. If there's any people that want to speak in favor or against, that's fine. But understand that finally all of your laws are in one place. So that would be a wonderful asset for the county.
Thank you. It is approximately 8:43. I'll open it up for our public hearing. Those that want to speak in favor tonight, I think we are the applicant. Anybody want to speak in favor tonight? You have 10 minutes to do so. If you would, please come and state your name and address for the record, please. Anyone would like to speak in favor tonight? Thank you. That portion of our public hearing is closed. We also allow 10 minutes for those that want to oppose tonight. You may come at this time. Please state your name and address for the record, please. Anyone want to oppose tonight? Thank you. That portion of our public hearing is closed. Guys, I'll seek a motion, please. Commissioner Schultz.
I move for approval of the adoption of ordinance O-102020. Ordinance adopting and enacting the new code for the county.
Second. It's been motioned by Commissioner Schultz and second by Commissioner Cowell. Any discussion? All in favor? Passes 5-0. Thank you so much. Jackie says she is happy. Next is number 18, alcohol license. The Kroger Company, final reading, 5340, Highway 20 South, Covington, GA 316, Ruby Clemens, District 2. Final reading.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the alcohol license for the Kroger Company, 5340 Highway 20 South, Covington, Georgia 30016, for Ruby Clement in District 2.
Thank you, sir. It's been motioned by Commissioner Mason, second by Commissioner Edwards. Any discussion? All in favor? Passes 5-0. Next is Liberty Food Mart, number 2. Final reading, 11408 Brown Bridge Road, Covington, GA 316, Chenal Serrani, District 4. Yes, sir. Final reading.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion to approve as stated by the chairman.
Second. It's been motioned by Commissioner Henderson and second by Commissioner Edwards. Any discussion? All in favor? Passes 5-0. Next is item 19, citizen comments. This is an opportunity that we let citizens come up and make comments. You would please state your name and address for the record. Please, you have 3 minutes to do so. You may comment this time. Citizens comments. Citizens comments. All right. Commissioner Cowell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just as a matter of order, can I get a copy of that book at some point? Okay. I know that's also kind of expensive, but we'll like to get a copy of that. But, I just want to say, thank you to the chairman for, that salary issue that we dealt with. I know I can't talk that much about it, but, I think we handled it, very well, and I just appreciate the chairman's, contributions. I just want to say, I just got back from Baton Rouge, fifth grandchild, so, congratulations, that's exciting. Things are looking up.
Commissioner Edwards.
I have nothing other than to say I do not want to talk about that.
Y'all, you can find this at the law library. Definitely can find it at the law library. And, yeah, and online. And in Jack office. In my office. Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Chairman. I just, very appreciative for the money that the people in the shelter help them out. I spent a little while with Reverend Pastor Derry and I, but we were talking and we were praying and we were asking God for his guidance and helping the people in the shelter. And we got on the conversation of, are there other homeless people other than the shelter? And Reverend reminded me and reminded us, it was in the paper, that there were, even on the town rate, there were homeless people in the tent. And I said, well, how do they survive? How do they keep this food in hot summer? And she said, well, I learned and heard from others that they wrapped up and put in the water. And she wanted to say, you can be a doctor today and be homeless tomorrow. You could be a teacher today and homeless tomorrow. You could be a commissioner and homeless tomorrow. And there's no certain people who, in the day, you be doing well and tomorrow you be homeless. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Schultz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As I recall, and I'm pulling this up just to make sure that I understand correctly, that our mask ordinance expires on October 31st. And so I think that it's done what it was intended to do, and we're getting ready to go into the winter months. And can you hear me? Sorry about that. Our mask ordinance expires on October 31st.
Okay.
And it's done what it was intended to do. We've seen our positivity rates come down, but we are getting ready to go into the winter months, and I just feel like we need to probably extend that mask ordinance. So,
I will say, and thank you for bringing it up, because I did forget. I will say that I have spoken with Dr. Rome, and flu season is approaching us pretty much here now, and they do have concerns. So I tend to agree with Commissioner Schultz. I think we do need to extend it. We always need to err on the side of caution.
and so I don't know whether we need to have a special session or whether we do, how we do that, but it does confirm with the mask, with what my understanding was, and it does expire on October 31st.
Yeah, we can do that. We can poll the board and ratify it at the next meeting. Definitely do that.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to echo what Commissioner Henderson said. I think it's great that this board has chosen to help our homeless shelter. I think that's phenomenal, and partnering with our city to be able, City of Covington to be able to do that. Lastly, I want to kind of take a moment. I don't get a chance to do this often, but to pat myself on the back. Just a little bit. We know that with our elections, it's going on, and as we saw from Mr. Johnson. A lot of voters are coming out in this election. And so that $91,112.50 from the Center for Tech and Civic Life grant that they got, I actually initiated that grant so that they can have those initial funds to be able to do what they need to do at our board of elections. And so I just wanted to pat myself on the back just a little bit tonight to say that and that was one of the things as a county commissioner. Thank you, Commissioner. As a county commissioner, that's one of the things that I want to do is find additional revenues when I can for different areas of the county. Since sometimes we don't always have all the monies that we need to do what we need to do. Even the CARES Act, didn't say anything about it, but I initiated the CARES Act money, going through the National Association of Counties. So going through NACO, I found the CARES Act money. We got the CARES Act money. So just taking a little moment to pat myself on the back for finding the CARES Act money and finding the money for the board election.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
God, thank you. Thank you for all your efforts. Guys, I want to say real quickly, we have we have a great board. Got a great team. And over the process of 4 years, that's what we're trying to build as a team. So I want to encourage you guys. I won't go into any kind of details or anything like that. But I want to encourage you guys to always operate as a team. Always remember there's no I team. And when you're on a team, everybody touch the ball, everybody play together. So I want you to encourage us as a board to make sure we keep doing that and we keep striving to do that and we stay a team. And I appreciate all of you. Please, ma'am, please, sir, let's keep our county manager in prayer. Also, let's keep Ms. Martin in prayer. I didn't go into details about that either, but we definitely want to keep her and her family in prayer. And it ain't 9 o'clock. Y'all just don't know. I seek a motion. We don't have a need for executive session, so I seek a motion that we adjourn. It's been motion by Commissioner Henderson, the second by Commissioner